Hey everyone, I'm back with an Epstein update. Today I'll cover Mick Jagger, Barack Obama, Peter Mandelson, Peter Thiel, and Rihanna. I'll also give updates on those I covered in my previous episodes. First up today is Mick Jagger. Several details have emerged regarding Mick Jagger's connections to Epstein, and these primarily involve social interactions, contact lists, and communications, with no accusations or evidence of Jagger's involvement in or awareness of Epstein's criminal activities. Multiple photos show Jagger in social settings with Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and former President Bill Clinton. One image depicts Jagger seated at a dinner table with Epstein, Maxwell, Clinton, and others, appearing in good spirits, and another shows Jagger posing with Clinton and a woman whose face is redacted. A separate photo features Jagger with Maxwell. These images are undated and lack specific context about when or where they were taken, but they illustrate Epstein's ties to high-profile entertainment figures. Jagger's name appears in Epstein's infamous Black Book of Contacts, which included hundreds of celebrities, politicians, and business figures, and a 2011 article referenced in the files describes Epstein's address book as containing famous names like Jagger. Emails from Epstein's assistants and associates reference Jagger in the context of social invitations. For example, a 2010 email from Epstein's secretary Leslie Groff asks if Jagger should be invited to an upcoming dinner. In another 2010 exchange, Jagger's assistant responds to an invitation noting that Jagger received the message and would love to come, but was in France at the time, suggesting a connection in New York after the new year. Additional emails from publicist Peggy Siegel mentioned encountering Jagger at events, such as a 2010 private party on Paul Allen's yacht and a 2017 AIDS fundraiser hosted by Elton John, where she described fainting when talking to him. A 2011 email between Epstein and Boris Nikolic lists Jagger as a potential guest for an event, alongside names like Ken Starr, Clinton, and Julie Taymor. Jagger is also referenced in a 2013 email inviting Epstein to a screening of the documentary Muscle Shoals, which featured interviews with Jagger and other rock legends. A 2003 FedEx receipt confirms that Epstein and Maxwell sent a package to Jagger's UK home, and older reports, such as a 2019 article about Epstein's UK contacts, note Jagger in one of Epstein's address books alongside figures like Tony Blair. Jagger has not publicly commented on the releases, and sources emphasize that his mentions reflect Epstein's efforts to network with celebrities rather than any illicit involvement. Next up is former President Barack Obama. Obama himself does not appear to have had any direct personal interactions, communications, photos, flight logs, or other evidence of involvement with Epstein or his activities. There are no mentions of Obama visiting Epstein's island, flying on his private jet, or appearing in Epstein's address book in a way that indicates a personal relationship. No photos, emails to or from Obama, or other direct ties have surfaced in the documents. Extensive reviews of the documents show Obama's name does not appear in context suggesting direct contact or awareness of Epstein's crimes, and claims on social media or elsewhere alleging Obama is all over the files, received money from Epstein for his campaign, or had secret emails or meetings are unsubstantiated and often stem from misinformation, fabricated posts, or misinterpretations of unrelated documents. For example, some viral claims reference Obama's handwriting or massive wire transfers, but these do not align with verified file contents and appear to be conspiracy-driven exaggerations without supporting evidence. Ironically, some claim his absence proves a cover-up, while others note it as evidence he avoided Epstein entirely. Both extremes overinterpret the lack of evidence. Obama has not publicly commented on the releases in relation to himself, and no accusations or evidence in the documents suggest his involvement in or knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities. The mentions primarily surround former aides or associates networking in elite circles, which I'll cover soon, but not Obama personally. On to British politician Peter Mandelson, who has extensive and well-documented connections to Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Jagger and Obama, Mandelson's links are deeper, more personal, and have led to significant fallout. Resignation from the House of Lords, firing as UK ambassador to the US in 2025, departure from the Labour Party, a criminal police investigation in the UK, a US congressional request for cooperation, and calls for insider trading probes. Mandelson and Epstein's relationship dates back to at least 2002 or 2003 and continued after Epstein's 2008 conviction for soliciting prostitution from a minor. In Epstein's 50th birthday book, compiled by Ghislaine Maxwell in 2003, Mandelson wrote a handwritten note calling Epstein his best pal and praising him as an intelligent, sharp witted man. Emails show Mandelson expressing strong support post conviction, saying things like, "Your friends stay with you and love you," and advising Epstein to fight for early release. Mandelson stayed at Epstein's Manhattan townhouse multiple times, including in 2009 while Epstein was under house arrest in Florida, and other emails discuss personal matters, with Mandelson suggesting holiday homes for Epstein's guests with emphasis on privacy. Bank statements in the files indicate Epstein made payments totaling over $75,000 in 2003 to 2004 to accounts connected to Mandelson and his partner, now husband, Ronaldo Avila de Silva. Mandelson has stated he has no record or connection of receiving these and questioned their authenticity. While serving as UK's business secretary from 2008 to 2010 during the financial crisis, Mandelson allegedly forwarded confidential government information to Epstein. Examples include market-sensitive details on bailouts and lobbying Epstein and J.P. Morgan Associates to mildly threaten Chancellor Alastair Darling over bankers' bonuses policy. This has triggered a Metropolitan Police investigation into potential misconduct in public office, a criminal offense, and calls for Financial Conduct Authority probes into insider dealing. Mandelson appears in Epstein's Black Book of Contacts and on some flight logs, and he was involved in a conservation charity run by Ghislaine Maxwell. Photos include one of Mandelson in a bathrobe with Epstein from earlier releases, but no evidence in the file suggests Mandelson knew of or participated in Epstein's sex trafficking crimes. However, the ties are portrayed as unusually close for a senior politician, and Mandelson resigned from the House of Lords in early February 2026 amid pressure from the UK government, which prepared legislation to remove him. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said Mandelson misled him about the friendship's extent before his 2024-2025 ambassador appointment, and the U.S. House Oversight Committee letter from February 2026 requested Mandelson's cooperation and an interview, citing his extensive social and business ties and potential knowledge. A lobbying firm Mandelson co-founded ceased trading due to client fallout. Mandelson has denied wrongdoing, stating emails show no misdemeanor and reiterated regret for knowing Epstein. He has described the friendship as social and business networking typical of Epstein's elite circle, but the revelations have been called a financial disgrace and rocked British politics more than most other figures in the files. No accusations tie him directly to Epstein's criminal acts against victims. A viral X claim misrepresents Mandelson's post-conviction support emails or a 2012 Epstein email joking about his sexuality and/or gay connections as proof Epstein arranged men for him on the island. This distorts context. Files show close friendship and financial ties, but no evidence of sexual involvement or island visits by Mandelson in any way. Some post-claim emails prove Mandelson will go to jail for sharing bailout information, and while UK police probes exist for potential misconduct, no charges have resulted yet, so claims of certainty are premature. Moving on to billionaire venture capitalist Peter Thiel, the co-founder of PayPal and Palantir and early Facebook investor. Thiel features prominently in the Epstein Files, with his name appearing over 2,200 times in some analyses of the latest release, reflecting a sustained business and social relationship with Epstein from 2014 to at least 2019, well after Epstein's 2008 conviction. Thiel's connections involve repeated meetings, emails, investment ties, and Epstein's efforts to network him with figures like Russian contacts or Trump associates. No evidence in the files link Thiel to Epstein's sex trafficking crimes or suggest he knew of or participated in them, and Thiel has publicly downplayed the relationship, stating on a 2024 Joe Rogan podcast that he met Epstein a few times after an introduction, likely via Reid Hoffman, but didn't ask enough questions. Numerous emails and calendar entries show planned lunches, dinners, calls, and meetings. For example, in 2014, Epstein invited Thiel to a dinner at his Upper East Side townhouse multiple times and asked about visiting Little St. James, though Thiel reportedly never visited the island. In 2016, Thiel texted Epstein asking about Friday availability for lunch, and in 2017, they scheduled lunch on November 27th. There was ongoing contact into 2019, with Epstein inquiring about Thiel's location or suggesting a Caribbean visit. Epstein invested around $40 million in 2015 and 2016 into funds managed by Billionaire Ventures, a firm backed and co-founded by Thiel. This stake reportedly grew significantly and remains active in Epstein's estate. Epstein consulted Thiel on investments and introduced him to others, like Tom Barrack, a Trump fundraiser, with follow-up emails praising interactions. Epstein referenced Thiel in emails with figures like Ehud Barak discussing potential Palantir ties or in broader networking. A 2016 email from Epstein to Thiel claimed, "As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds." Thiel appears in Epstein's schedules alongside other tech and political names, but no flight logs place Thiel on Epstein's jet, and he's not in the classic black book in a standout way, but his post-conviction interactions stand out in Silicon Valley coverage. Some lighter details, like food preferences, appear in scheduling emails, highlighting the personal tone of their exchanges. Epstein aggressively courted Silicon Valley post-2008 using prestige and investment access. Thiel's ties fit this pattern: business-oriented networking amid elite circles. Public discussions often speculate on implications with partisan angles, and some viral claims exaggerate, but core facts stem from verified emails and schedules. Thiel has not issued a major recent statement on the 2026 releases beyond earlier minimization, and sources stress no criminal implications for him, only Epstein's pattern of leveraging high-profile contacts. This contrasts with figures like Peter Mandelson, who has deeper ties but aligns with other tech elites' documented proximity without proven wrongdoing. Rumors tie Thiel's $40 million investment via Billionaire Ventures or repeated meetings and emails to deeper compromise, Russian influence via Epstein, or Palantir surveillance ties. Files show business networking post-2008, but Thiel has downplayed it as limited. Last for today is Rihanna, the singer, businesswoman, and founder of Fenty. Rihanna's mentions are limited and peripheral, as there is no evidence in the documents of any personal meetings, photos together, flight logs involving her on Epstein's jet, visits to his island, or awareness or knowledge of his criminal activities. There are no accusations or implications of wrongdoing tied to her. Screenshots and call logs show Rihanna's phone number associated with 2 outgoing calls to Epstein's number or numbers linked to him. These are dated in the post-2008 period, but specifics like exact dates, duration, or content of any conversations are not detailed in public summaries. This has fueled online speculation, but credible sources describe it as unverified in context, possibly routine celebrity outreach, misattributed, or part of Epstein's broad contact harvesting. No transcripts or evidence indicate illicit discussions. Emails reference a mysterious Rihanna video and contain discussions about potential content or footage involving her or her dating life at the time. These appear in Epstein's correspondence, possibly tied to gossip, media monitoring, or his networking attempts in entertainment circles. One indirect mention stems from Epstein receiving Fenty Beauty newsletters or promotional emails, common for high-profile contacts he added to lists. Rihanna has not publicly commented on the files or these mentions. In summary, Rihanna's appearances are minimal and non-incriminating, mostly artifacts of Epstein's wide-net contact lists and media monitoring, without any documented personal interaction or criminal link. This aligns with many celebrity names surfacing incidentally in the massive dumps where mere mentions do not imply involvement. Now it's time to do an update on new information that has come out since my previous episodes, but first, let me tell you about my sponsors quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. All right, first up is the man formerly known as Prince Andrew. As I mentioned briefly in the last episode, he was arrested on February 19th, his 66th birthday, by Thames Valley Police at Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate. He was taken into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office stemming from newly revealed emails and documents in the Epstein Files. These suggest he may have shared confidential UK government trade reports and sensitive information from his time as special trade envoy with Jeffrey Epstein, including details from official visits to places like Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and China. He was questioned for around 11 hours and released that evening under investigation, meaning no charges have been filed yet, but the probe continues without bail conditions or exoneration. This is the first arrest of a royal family member in centuries. Following the arrest, police conducted searches at his former residence, Royal Lodge in Windsor, and his current and temporary accommodation at Wood Farm. The Royal Lodge search lasted about 6 days, concluding around February 25th, with officers examining documents, devices, and other materials. The investigation remains active, with Thames Valley Police stating they need time and space to progress the work. The probe could take months, given the volume of material, and updates are expected to be infrequent for some time. King Charles III reiterated the law must take its course, and there's discussion in Parliament about potentially removing Andrew from the line of succession or further transparency measures. Next up is Bill Gates, who held a town hall with Gates Foundation staff, a scheduled semi-annual event, where he addressed the files directly. He apologized for the association, called it a huge mistake to spend time with Epstein and involve Foundation executives in meetings, took responsibility for his actions, and expressed regret for the distraction and reputational risk to the Foundation. He reiterated, "I did nothing illicit, I saw nothing illicit," and confirmed he never met Epstein's victims or witnessed wrongdoing. In the same meeting, Gates admitted to 2 extramarital affairs with Russian women, one a bridge player he met at events, and the other a nuclear physicist he met via business. Epstein later discovered these affairs via Gates' former science advisor. Gates clarified these didn't involve Epstein's victims and were separate from the Epstein ties, but the timing amplified scrutiny amid the files' release. Gates canceled a keynote at an AI summit in India amid the scrutiny, and some Foundation staff expressed unease, but no major resignations or operational changes were reported. On to Bill Clinton, who has been one of the most high-profile figures in the ongoing Epstein Files saga, with the major development being his closed-door deposition before the House Oversight Committee on February 27th, following Hillary Clinton's on February 26th. This marked the first time a former U.S. president has been compelled to testify before Congress. Clinton testified for nearly 6 hours in a closed session, initially subpoenaed with threats of contempt if he didn't comply. He and Hillary agreed to appear early in February to avoid escalation. In his opening statement, shared publicly on social media, he stated, "I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong." He emphasized his brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before Epstein's 2008 guilty plea, that he had no idea of the crimes and would have turned him in if he had been aware, and said he saw nothing that ever gave me pause. He reiterated never witnessing abuse, never visiting Epstein's island, supported by some earlier Epstein denials and emails, and that any continued association was for philanthropy and networking before the full extent of crimes emerged. Lawmakers questioned him about specific photos from the files, for example, one showing him in a hot tub with a woman whose face was redacted, to which Bill said he didn't know her and denied any sexual involvement. Other photos show his arm around women on planes or in pools, to which he denied wrongdoing or knowledge. He was also asked repeatedly if he had sex with the women in the images, and he denied each time. No new criminal allegations or evidence of wrongdoing emerged against him in the testimony. Hillary Clinton's deposition lasted almost 7 hours, and she said she had no idea about Epstein's or Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal activities, did not recall ever meeting or encountering Epstein, never flew on his plane, never visited his island, home, or offices, and had no knowledge that would assist the investigation. She described the questioning as repetitive and criticized the Republican-led Committee for Political Theater, accusing them of deflecting from others more prominently named in the files. She called for President Trump to testify under oath about his own Epstein associations, even though her own husband cleared Trump of wrongdoing during his deposition, and she noted little effort to question high-profile GOP-linked figures like Leslie Wexner. Hillary emphasized she was compelled to appear after initial resistance and threats of contempt of Congress, but cooperated fully. Post-deposition, she spoke to reporters, expressing disappointment it wasn't public and reiterating her denials while pushing for broader transparency and questioning of others. The session briefly turned chaotic when Representative Lauren Boebert leaked a photo from inside the room to political commentator Benny Johnson, which irked Hillary. No new evidence of wrongdoing or direct involvement emerged against her in the files or testimony. Next up is President Trump. An NPR investigation revealed the Department of Justice withheld or removed dozens of pages from the public database, including FBI interview summaries and notes related to allegations against Trump. Democrats accused the DOJ of a cover-up to protect Trump, demanded full release, and questioned if an ongoing investigation justifies withholding. The DOJ responded by saying nothing was deleted and withholdings were for duplicates, privilege, or ongoing probes, but provided no specifics on Trump-related materials. In Bill Clinton's deposition, Clinton voluntarily recounted a conversation from around 2002 or 2003 during a golf event. He testified that Trump approached the topic of Epstein unprompted, seemingly aware that Clinton had flown on Epstein's plane. According to Clinton's recollection, Trump said something along the lines of, "You know, we had great times together over the years, but we fell out all because of a real estate deal." Clinton interpreted this as Trump describing a past friendship with Epstein that had ended over a business dispute, not anything implying sexual misconduct. Clinton noted that Trump did know him well, referring to Epstein, but added that Trump never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in Epstein's wrongdoing. Clinton volunteered this anecdote without being directly prompted about Trump in that segment, and he emphasized that he saw no indication from Trump of involvement in Epstein's crimes. Republican committee members highlighted this as supporting Trump's lack of involvement, with Comer stating post-deposition that Clinton indicated Trump has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved with Epstein. Democrats countered that the testimony raised questions about Trump's ties and fallout with Epstein, and some pushed for Trump to testify similarly. No new allegations against Trump emerged from Clinton's statements. Overall, for Trump, developments have been heavily political, accusations of DOJ interference under his administration, partisan finger-pointing, and calls for testimony, without legal jeopardy or new bombshells substantiating misconduct. On to the late Jean-Luc Brunel. Just a quick reminder of who he is. He ran modeling agencies and was accused of trafficking young women and girls to Epstein, rape of minors, and sexual harassment and exploitation. He was facing charges for his crimes in France, but hung himself after 14 months in custody. On February 14th or 15th, Paris prosecutors announced a dedicated team of magistrates to analyze the files for French nationals' links. They opened 2 new investigations on February 18th, one into human trafficking and sex abuse crimes, another into financial wrongdoing. They explicitly called for re-examining Brunel's full file, which was previously closed, in light of new U.S. evidence, urging victims to come forward. This includes reviewing any overlooked connections, and the reprobe aims to identify other potential offenders in Brunel and Epstein's French network. The French team continues its work with no new arrests or charges announced from this reexamination yet, but it's ongoing with calls for victim testimonies. Next up is Larry Summers. On February 25th, Harvard announced Summers would resign from his tenured faculty position in all academic roles at the end of the 2025-2026 academic year, and he remains on leave. His wife's PBS show, Poetry in America, was canceled, and ASU severed ties with her nonprofit, Verse Video Education, after revelations Epstein funded it via Leon Black during her time at Harvard. Les Wexner's deposition before the House Oversight Committee was February 18th, held in his home state of Ohio. Democrats on the committee subpoenaed him after unredacted files revealed his name in a 2019 FBI document, labeling him a co-conspirator or secondary co-conspirator alongside Ghislaine Maxwell, Jean-Luc Brunel, and others, though the same document noted limited evidence of involvement. A 2019 assistant U.S. attorney had previously told his counsel he was neither a co-conspirator nor a target after he provided information on Epstein. Wexner, now 88 years old, testified for about 6 hours, denying any knowledge of Epstein's crimes or abuse. He described Epstein as a world-class con man and diabolical who duped him, stole vast sums to the tune of millions from his family and charitable entities, and that their relationship was primarily professional, with financial advising starting in the 1980s. He claimed he severed ties in 2007 after discovering theft, revoking power of attorney, removing Epstein from accounts, though files show some contact persisted, like a 2008 email exchange post-Epstein's plea deal where Wexner urged caution. He insisted the relationship was more professional than social, with no awareness of illicit activities, and expressed being naive, foolish, and gullible for trusting Epstein. Democrats pushed back hard, calling some claims bogus or inconsistent. The committee released a video and transcript of the testimony shortly after, with Republicans noting he answered every question and no major new admissions emerged. No charges, arrests, or formal criminal probes against Wexner have resulted, and no DOJ or FBI escalation beyond the historical scrutiny. There have been calls for accountability, with nearly 300 requests to Ohio State University as of late February to remove his name from buildings like the Wexner Medical Center due to Epstein ties and past campus issues. Some philanthropy and investments face scrutiny, but no major business or legal consequences were reported beyond reputational damage. That's all for now. Future episodes will cover New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch, filmmaker Woody Allen, Tom Hanks, former U.S. Attorney William Barr, Stacey Plaskett, Brett Ratner, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Harvey Weinstein, Jake Lang, Whoopi Goldberg, Sylvia Gearson, Stephen Hawking, Thorban Jagland, Reid Hoffman, Catherine Rumler, Alexander Acosta, Gloria Allred, Julian Assange, Vincent Babino, Xavier Becerra, Jeffrey Berman, Ashley Biden, Joe Biden, Mark Bistreiser, and Todd Blanche. Of course, just because I've listed these people does not mean I'm accusing them of wrongdoing. If I've left a name off this list that you think should be covered, please let me know in the comments wherever you follow me. Have a great day.